Hello and welcome back, everybody. It's time to once again discuss the election of 1860. So, where last we left our intrepid heroes of American history, we stopped at the election of 1860 with the Constitutional Union Party, whose candidate was John Bell. Now, if you haven't heard of the Constitutional Union Party, you're not missing much. That party was formed pretty much right before the American Civil War. They did not win that election. And then after the war, you pretty much only had two parties left over. You had the Democrats and the Republicans. And that has pretty much stayed true to the present day. Third parties have tried to come forth with their own candidates. If you've been following Netflix and you've seen the show Tiger King, that guy, Joe Exotic, he actually tried to run for president against Donald Trump in 2016. So, yeah. Anyway, back to the Constitutional Union Party. They didn't even address the issue of slavery. They just wanted to preserve the Union. But in order to do that, it's hard to do that without, while skirting around that issue. So it's not hard to see why he did not win out. So let's look at the election results. So right here, you have a lovely election map of the United States. So obviously the gray areas are territories. They did not get to vote in presidential elections. But if you look all over here, all of these kind of peach coral areas are won by Lincoln and the Republican Party. Notice how he did not get a single Southern vote. Not a single Southern vote. Breckinridge, the guy who wanted unrestricted expansion of slavery throughout the country and new territories, Breckinridge, he took Maryland and Delaware, along with almost all of the southern states, minus Tennessee and Virginia. You had John Bell. He actually carried 3 states, so he actually got a not insignificant amount of electoral votes. So 24 there, 24 plus 15, so 39. He almost beat out Breckinridge down here in the South. But he could not, neither one of those candidates could compete with Abraham Lincoln. You've got all of these seats, and look how many votes just New York and Pennsylvania and Ohio, these 3 states alone. He carried the state of New York, and that won him almost as many votes as Breckinridge got in the South. And that kind of shows you that in this time period, a candidate did not have to win a single Southern vote, and they could still win the presidential election. And that made Southerners very angry. They felt politically isolated, and they felt oppressed that their votes did not carry as much weight, or they felt kind of shut out of the election process. So Abraham Lincoln won the election, and Southerners were petrified about this election because they did not want to lose their peculiar institution, which is, of course, slavery. So with the election of 1860, Abraham Lincoln's elected, and South Carolina, state right down here, says, you know what? I'm out. And they secede from the Union. They vote, and their population votes to secede from the Union, to leave the United States. But the sitting president, James Buchanan, before he left office, and then Abraham Lincoln, when he signed in, when he was inaugurated, said, you know what? The Union is perpetual. It's forever. You can't just opt out. And the Southern states saw the Union as optional. The Constitution was a contract. They felt that the Constitution's contract was violated, so they said, I'm out. So with Abraham Lincoln's election win, Southern states secede. South Carolina votes to secede in December 20th, 1860, and many Southerners and President Buchanan's cabinet resigned, and the administration falls apart. So really, the final straw for the South was the election of Abraham Lincoln, and Buchanan could do nothing for it. So stay tuned. We'll talk about more of this later.